Have you ever felt like your body just doesn't bounce back the way it used to? Maybe you're noticing that the little aches and pains last a bit longer than before, or your energy isn't quite where it used to be. If you're nodding along, you're not alone. As we age, our bodies go through changes that can make us feel different, but that doesn't mean we have to just accept it. In fact, there's a lot we can do to keep feeling young and vibrant, and a huge part of that comes down to the food we eat. Today, we're going to talk about something that a lot of people don't often think about: how the foods we eat after the age of 70 can actually accelerate aging. We all know that eating healthy is important, but as we get older, it becomes even more crucial to be mindful of what we're putting in our bodies. Certain foods that may have been okay for us in our younger years can now be doing more harm than good. Now, I know what you're thinking. There are so many diets out there, and it's hard to know which one is right for you. Don't worry, we're not going to talk about any fad diets or extreme restrictions. Instead, we'll focus on a few foods that you might be eating every day without even realizing how much they can affect your health. By making just a few simple adjustments, you can slow down the aging process, boost your energy, and feel better overall. So, let's dive right into the first food you might want to reconsider eating after 70: refined sugar. You've probably heard the saying, "A little sugar never hurt anyone." But the truth is, as we get older, our bodies don't handle sugar the way they once did. Refined sugar, the kind found in things like cookies, cakes, and sugary beverages, can cause inflammation in your body. This inflammation can lead to a variety of issues, from joint pain to an increased risk of chronic conditions like heart disease and diabetes. In fact, studies show that excessive sugar consumption can actually speed up the aging process by damaging collagen and elastin in your skin. Collagen and elastin are the proteins that keep your skin firm and elastic, which is why you might notice that your skin isn't as tight and youthful as it once was. When you consume too much sugar, it triggers a process called glycation, where sugar molecules attach to proteins like collagen and elastin, making them stiff and brittle. This not only contributes to wrinkles, but can also make your skin more prone to sagging. And it's not just your skin that suffers. High sugar intake can also have negative effects on your brain health. Research suggests that consuming too much sugar over time can increase the risk of cognitive decline and even Alzheimer's disease. If you're someone who has a sweet tooth, this is definitely something to think about, especially as you get older. So, what can you do instead? Well, try cutting back on sugary snacks and drinks. Instead, reach for natural sweeteners like honey or stevia in moderation, and try to get your sweetness from whole fruits, which are packed with vitamins, fiber, and antioxidants that are far better for your body than processed sugar. If you're craving a little something sweet, how about a piece of dark chocolate? It's a great alternative that still satisfies your sweet tooth without all the negative side effects. Now, let's talk about another food group that can cause trouble as we age: processed meats. You might have noticed that foods like bacon, sausages, and hot dogs have a certain appeal. They're convenient, tasty, and often included in meals we grew up with. But as we age, these foods can start to take a toll on our health. Processed meats are often high in sodium, saturated fats, and preservatives like nitrates, which can increase your risk of high blood pressure, heart disease, and even cancer. In fact, the World Health Organization has classified processed meats as a Group 1 carcinogen, meaning there's enough evidence to link them to cancer. These meats can also contribute to inflammation in your body, which, as we've already discussed, is something you definitely want to avoid as you age. The sodium in processed meats can also lead to water retention and bloating, which can leave you feeling uncomfortable. Plus, high salt intake can increase your blood pressure, putting unnecessary strain on your heart. And we know that as we get older, our bodies become less efficient at managing things like blood pressure, so it's even more important to be mindful of what we're eating. If you're someone who enjoys having a slice of bacon with your eggs or throwing a hot dog on the grill every now and then, it's not about completely cutting them out, but rather being mindful of how much you're consuming. Consider swapping out processed meats for healthier alternatives like lean poultry, fish, or even plant-based proteins. There are plenty of tasty options out there that won't sacrifice flavor, but will help you stay healthier in the long run. Now that we've covered sugar and processed meats, let's talk about another food that might be sneaking into your diet more often than you think: fried foods. Whether it's a handful of crispy fries or fried chicken, these foods can have a significant impact on your aging process, especially as you get older. Fried foods are typically cooked in oils that contain high levels of unhealthy trans fats. These fats can raise your bad cholesterol levels and lower your good cholesterol, which can lead to plaque buildup in your arteries and increase your risk of heart disease. On top of that, when foods are fried at high temperatures, they can form harmful compounds called advanced glycation end products, AGEs, which, as the name suggests, can accelerate the aging process by contributing to tissue damage and inflammation. If you enjoy fried foods, it's worth considering switching to healthier cooking methods like grilling, baking, or steaming. These options still allow you to enjoy delicious meals, but without the added risks that come with frying. Plus, cooking at lower temperatures helps preserve the nutrients in your food, so you're getting the most out of every meal. As we've seen, the foods we eat after 70 can have a profound impact on how we feel and how quickly we age. By making small changes like cutting back on sugar, processed meats, and fried foods, you can help slow down the aging process and enjoy a healthier, more vibrant life. Now that we've covered a few of these foods, let's move on to some other simple changes you can make to support your health as you get older. Stay tuned. Now that we've talked about the first few foods to be mindful of, let's take a closer look at some other common foods that might be sneaking into your diet and why they might be accelerating your aging process. It's all about small changes, right? These adjustments don't require drastic changes, just a little bit of awareness so you can make smarter choices for your health moving forward. One food that often gets overlooked when it comes to aging is refined grains, which include white bread, pasta, and rice. These foods are staples in many people's diets, but as we age, they can actually do more harm than good. Refined grains are processed in a way that strips away many of their nutrients, leaving behind a product that is primarily made up of simple carbohydrates. While they may taste great and feel comforting, they cause your blood sugar levels to spike quickly, leading to a surge in insulin. This rapid increase in insulin can promote inflammation and fat storage, both of which contribute to aging. Over time, this can also increase the risk of type 2 diabetes, heart disease, and weight gain. What's more, refined grains don't provide the long-lasting energy that whole grains do. You might find yourself feeling tired and sluggish after eating them, especially as your body's metabolism naturally slows down with age. That's because whole grains, such as quinoa, brown rice, or oats, contain more fiber and essential nutrients, which help stabilize blood sugar levels and keep you feeling fuller for longer. These whole grains also support digestive health. something that tends to be more important as we age. So, next time you're reaching for that slice of white bread or that bowl of pasta, try switching it up. Choose whole grain versions instead. You can start small by incorporating whole grain cereal into your breakfast, or swapping out white rice for brown rice or quinoa. These simple changes will not only help stabilize your energy levels throughout the day, but they'll also have a positive impact on your long-term health. Another surprising food to keep an eye on is dairy, particularly full-fat dairy products. Now, I know what you're thinking, but dairy is so good for my bones. And yes, dairy does provide calcium and other essential nutrients, but consuming large amounts of full-fat dairy can actually have a negative impact on your health as you get older. The issue here is the saturated fat found in full-fat dairy products like whole milk, cream, and full-fat cheese. Saturated fats can contribute to higher cholesterol levels and can increase your risk of heart disease. As you age, your body's ability to manage cholesterol becomes less efficient, and consuming too much saturated fat can make this even harder. In addition, too much saturated fat can increase inflammation in the body, which, as we've discussed, is something you want to avoid as you age. But don't worry, I'm not saying you have to cut out dairy entirely. Instead, consider switching to lower fat options, like skim milk or low-fat cheese, which still provide the calcium and protein your body needs without all the extra saturated fat. Or you could explore some non-dairy alternatives, such as almond milk, soy milk, or coconut yogurt, which can offer a similar texture and taste without the saturated fat content. Now, let's move on to a food that's often seen as a quick fix, but can actually do a lot of damage in the long run: sugary snacks and pastries. Think about it. Cookies, cakes, pastries, donuts. They all seem so tempting, don't they? But while they might satisfy your cravings for a moment, the truth is they can have lasting effects on your health as you age. Sugary snacks are loaded with not only refined sugar, but also unhealthy fats. These types of fats can raise your LDL, bad cholesterol, while lowering your HDL, good cholesterol, increasing the risk of heart disease and stroke. Plus, just like with sugary drinks, those simple sugars and sugary snacks are rapidly absorbed into your bloodstream, leading to spikes in blood sugar levels. These spikes are followed by crashes, which can leave you feeling lethargic and irritable. As you get older, your body's ability to handle sugar becomes less efficient, and those constant blood sugar fluctuations can have a greater impact on your overall well-being. They can even affect your cognitive function over time, potentially increasing your risk of developing conditions like memory loss or dementia. Instead of reaching for those sugary pastries, consider healthier snack alternatives. You can satisfy your sweet tooth with fresh fruit, which offers natural sugars and is packed with fiber, vitamins, and antioxidants. If you're craving something a little more indulgent, try making your own healthy snacks, like baked apple chips or energy balls made with oats, nuts, and a touch of honey. These snacks can be just as satisfying without the harmful effects of refined sugars. All of these foods, refined grains, full-fat dairy, and sugary snacks, are ones that many of us have grown accustomed to over the years. They're easy to grab, and they've likely been part of our diets for decades. But as we age, it's important to start paying closer attention to how these foods impact our bodies. The good news is, it doesn't take much to make healthier choices. Small changes, like switching to whole grains, choosing lower-fat dairy, and opting for healthier snacks, can make a big difference over time. So, as we've covered, there are a number of foods that may be accelerating the aging process more than we realize. By being mindful of these foods and making simple substitutions, you can help protect your body from unnecessary wear and tear. But don't worry. I'm not suggesting you cut everything out and start over. It's about balance and making smarter choices, little by little. We've talked about a lot today. Refined sugar, processed meats, fried foods, refined grains, and sugary snacks. These are just a few examples of foods that can contribute to the aging process. But remember, it's not about perfection. It's about taking one step at a time towards a healthier, more vibrant you.